Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Carmen Bryant, your host of Redefining Yourself. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This program was developed for women that are thinking of leaving or have left and are recovering from domestic violence. My specific topic of interest is narcissist abuse recovery. Even though the program was created with women in mind, I honor each and every man that comes on this channel, every gentleman, every king that has joined us, because narcissist abuse is narcissist abuse, and it happens all across the board. It doesn't matter what your gender, race, nationality, or religious preference is, but narcissist abuse happens to men and women alike. And a lot of these videos, men have confirmed that, hey, this is exactly what the female narcissist did to them. And they even have shared. So thank you, King, so much for not being ashamed to share your story and letting us know what it was like to be with a female narcissist and how female narcissists act and even how they think. Very similar to the male narcissist, but a lot of times the female is a little more conniving because they'll use their femininity. They'll use their, they'll use that, I'm a female and he's the big, mean, scary man. And in actuality, they're the aggressors. And so I do recognize and I do value the fact that men are willing to share these stories. The reason why I really focused on females is because the females were more likely to talk about it and discuss the trauma and the experiences that we're having. And I said in another video, most of the time, if a man says that they're being abused or in a domestic violence situation, they're not going to be honest, because people kind of look at men as, okay, you're the big guy, or you're a man, how can a woman be abusing you? That's not possible. And it is very possible. And for men, it's very underreported because they don't report it the same as females do. So I think that if men were honest enough to report it, I guarantee you the numbers will probably go up just like female numbers have went up. For each one of you new subscribers, thank you guys so much for joining me. I am so honored that you will find something valuable that I have to say concerning either your experience or your search for more information, or even in your healing process. Many of you guys have sent me emails letting me know that these videos are helping you, and that is what brings me joy, to make sure that you guys are getting information and understanding what has happened to you or what is happening to you, and the process that you're going to be validated. For someone to validate you and say, I understand or I believe you, that right there helps the process of healing, because many of you guys, people look at you like you're crazy, or okay, you're just dramatic or overboard with it. And especially if you're dealing with a covert narcissist, with a covert narcissist, they have so many flying monkeys and they have smear campaigns your name. And what has probably happened is you didn't know how to maintain and respond instead of react. And so because you have been traumatized, some of you have gotten post-traumatic stress and complex post-traumatic stress, what happens is that you reacted, and that's what they wanted. They wanted the reaction to validate what the lie that they probably told about you, or the lie that they were telling about you. So of course you look like the crazy one. And so in reality though, most people, as many of you guys have said as well, is that no one believed you. People were like, okay, get over it. You guys are not together anymore. Male and female alike, you're not together anymore. Okay, get over it and move on. This type of abuse is totally different than the average domestic violence abuse. This type of abuse, it is so conniving and so manipulative. In actuality, if you could label it, it's criminal behavior. It's like the behavior that you will see when people do, and I talked about it before, the terrorist. It's like a terrorist. It's like you're living with a terrorist, a monster that literally purposely is very calculative in everything he or she does, and they have no problem in thinking of tormenting tactics to tear you down to get what they want from you. And once they've deprived you, or once they've gotten the fuel that they wanted and you're no use to them, and they find something that may have more fuel, because remember, one person is not better than the other. No one is better than anybody. So always remember, I don't care what kind of supply they went and got, that new supply is not better than you. And the new supply is ignorant. That means they are in the dark. They have no idea. And many of you guys wonder, like, what if this is the person that will change the narcissist? A narcissist is not going to change. A narcissist, tigers don't change their stripes. I've never seen a tiger decide that he wants to be or she wants to be a lion and then change their stripes. I've never seen a panda bear decide that I'm not going to be a panda bear, I'm going to be a polar bear. Animals don't change. And neither does a narcissist. A narcissist doesn't change into something else. It doesn't matter who they're with. When you see this facade, that they're showing you, or what they're showing you on social media, or the pictures that they take and all this wonderful and these smiles and everything, believe you me, just think about how long it took for you to recognize what you were dealing with in your home or in your relationship. It's just a matter of time. Now, a lot of times what happens is because of the fact that how a person may have attained the narcissist, or how the narcissist attained the other person, whether it was through an affair, whether it was through multiple or serial cheating. A lot of times the person that they've connected with begins to feel almost embarrassed or ashamed or humiliated over the fact that, I gave up all this for this individual, and this individual is no good. Or a lot of times the new supply is thinking, I wonder what the old supply went through. I wonder if he did this with the old supply. But the narcissist is probably telling the new supplies, well, she wasn't, or he wasn't like that, because remember, at one point in time, they're smearing your name. And so they're talking to this new supply, and they're probably telling the new supply, all the horrible things and how terrible you are. But then there's going to come a time where they're devaluing, which they are, devaluing the new supply. And so if your name comes up as the old supply, one of the things that they'll do to make sure that they devalue the new supply is, well, he or she wasn't like that. Now, one thing I can say about him or her was, so see, they make you look like a hero too at the same time, so that the new supply is always on edge, wondering what you were like. I wonder if he acted like that with her, or if you were the longer supply, that's longer a primary supply, I wonder if he treated her like this, or I wonder if he did this. There's no possible way. And normally the narcissist is telling the, well, he or she didn't act this way, or, that this is your problem. That was not one of the problems that we had when we were in the, so they're going to do, they talk too much, and they say a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff that they say, if you actually listen to it, they tell on themselves. And so today's video, and before I start, if you have not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, and hit the bell so you can hear whenever I upload the videos and when I come on live on Sundays. On Sundays, I leave it open. I do put a topic up there, and I usually kind of talk about the topic a little bit until everybody comes into, comes on live, but I leave it open for you guys to ask me questions and for you guys to talk to each other and support each other, and I see that has been helping a lot, and I thank you guys so much for participating and sharing these videos. The subscribers have went up, so that lets me know that you guys have been sharing. It's been shared on YouTube, and you guys are learning something. My whole goal is to teach you the strategies, like in the military. The military study, I was in the military, and so the military studies the enemy, and so that's why you have intel, you have CIA, and you have all these intel people that study the enemy. They study the enemy in order to teach the military and the military services how to fight this enemy. Remember, Vietnam was one type of war, and from Vietnam they learned a lot, and thank you guys for serving, for those of you that are veterans, and even our Vietnam veterans, our Saudi veterans, our Iraqi veterans. Thank you guys for serving. I'm a veteran, and I have a heart for veterans. At the same time, is that each war taught military services new things, new strategies, new intel, new type of enemy, new type of terrain. And so my whole goal, especially as a former service member, is to teach you the strategies of this type of enemy, the narcissist. Teach you the strategies and teach you some of the things that these individuals do, so that when you, are, whether you want to go back and date, whether you want to get married, many of you guys are kind of turned off at this particular time, but you don't let the narcissist change your desire. You still have the desire to be with someone. If you do, some of you are pretty content being by yourself. You learned a lesson, and okay, I'm much rather be by myself. Some of you do still want a relationship, but it becomes scary because of the fact of what you've been through. And so I want to make a goal of bringing out awareness. I want to make a goal of teaching you little strategies that are used. People can say that, when they're associated with the military, I know a lot about the military, but unless you've been a military service member and you've done training and you've listened to the experiences of other service members to teach you how to do specific training and why you're doing what you're doing and what you're looking for, you don't understand the type of enemies that they're teaching you how to survive. There's the tactical part, and then there's the technical part. You learn, during peacetime, we're always in training. So even when they're on their bases, their posts, when they're in their duty station, it's still training during peacetime. You're training during peacetime as to what you're going to do when you go into wartime. There's the technical training and there's the tactical training. And so that's the same thing I would like to teach you guys. I want to teach you guys the technical and the tactical training when it comes to the narcissist and surviving narcissist abuse, because you don't have to go and come out of a very hostile situation. You're coming out, you have hostages that have been made free. You guys are hostages that have been set free. You guys are now going through the residual and the pain, and you're healing from the trauma that you guys have been through dealing with a narcissist. And so I want to teach you this. And some of you have experiences, and either you can remain the victim forever, or you can take your experiences and begin to teach other people. Who is the best person to teach about this? You are, the people that have been in this situation yourself. That's why I take personal experience, I take clinical experience, I take book experience, and then and even within my daily, when I see it, I take all that information and put it together to present you guys the information. So I understand where a lot of you are. I've been there, and now I'm teaching you about it. That's the same thing. I shouldn't be the only one, and a lot of the people that we name, Associate Durag, Angie Atkinson, Sarah Speaks, Little Shaman, Melanie Tonya Evans, all these coaches that are on there are experienced people with the knowledge of having been in a relationship. But each one of your relationships and each one of your experiences is very unique. I don't know what it was like to be with the individual you were like, but I guarantee you, if we tell stories and tell our stories, the behavior is exactly alike. You are just a different individual than I am. I come from a different background, and you come from a different background. And I also wanted to address Ms. Marietta. There was a question that you asked on there, and you wanted me to address you wanted me to talk about the cluster B personality disorders from a Christian perspective. The only reason why I don't get into the religious or spiritual part of the excuse me, you guys, my eye is itching, these big eyelashes. But the reason why I don't focus on the religious aspect of or the spiritual aspect of narcissist abuse or narcissism is because of the fact that I understand, and because I am a clinician, and ethically, even when I work in my private practice, I can only address certain things that they meaning the clients allow. If they want me to implement, Christian belief system or their belief system, whatever it may be, I have to operate off of their belief system. And I do understand that on YouTube, all of us do not have the same belief system. The one thing we do have in common is the fact that we all have had experiences with a narcissist. And so what I try to do is I try to be respectful and come and bring the information from a clinical perspective, but I take it and I try to make it into bite sizes so it's easy to comprehend. I'm not using these big clinical words. And so with that understanding that I know that many of us do not have the same type of spiritual belief system or religious belief system, what I usually do is I defer or refer people to my mentor. My mentor is a senior presiding prelate over our ministry with over our church with many other churches, and she also teaches about narcissism, but she gives you a spiritual perspective. She has a greater freedom. Most religious leaders have a greater religious freedom to bring to you information concerning their beliefs and even Christian beliefs about the narcissist, about the mental health. And I can say this much is that do understand with the Christian belief system and that that particular religious belief system, the Christian belief system, it does say that first that which is natural and then that which is spiritual. The thing is that a lot of times people will get on and start talking about things like this, and they don't have all the training and the knowledge that they need to talk about it. So they become almost spooky Christians, or they become super spiritual that no one really understands what they're more confused. They're either super spiritual, they over spiritualize things, and a lot of people are turned off by that. And so I try to bring you information from a clinical perspective that I can put in chunk sizes and give you real examples. But I will say this, Ms. Mary, Marietta, if you are interested in more information. And that's why I invited you all. I've been getting emails for those of you that would like me to put you on the list, because my mentor and I will be traveling to Dallas. We're making plans to travel to Dallas, first of all, to hear Mr. Quinn Holiday speak from Associate Direct, which on the 30th of March. And then we will, at a different location, do a conference as well. But this gives you the opportunity to ask her questions, and you can get a perspective from a religious leader, a church leader, and her perspective. She's a businesswoman. She's very astute, very professional woman. She is a businesswoman. She has churches that are under her. She does deal with a lot of religious leaders, but she also deals with a lot of political, professional people within the entertainment industry. So she is very well-rounded, so that when you speak to her, you can ask her questions concerning the beliefs and the spiritual belief behind mental health disorder. As you know, within the Christian arena, we do believe that you do have that what is natural and that what is spiritual. There's spiritual behind natural occurrences, especially within mental health. But a lot of times, coming through psychology and reading about psychiatry back in the day, when they were first developing psychology and psychiatry, everything was over spiritualized. People were put into insane asylums, and they were beaten and shot to get the demons out of them. Well, some things need to be addressed where they need to be addressed. Depression, anxiety, abuse, the effects of abuse. There is some natural information that needs to be put out there. But what I tell you to do, Miss Marietta, you're welcome to go on my YouTube channel. I'm not YouTube channel. Go to my Facebook page under Psychological Health Consultants and Services. There is some videos on there that I shared where she talked about narcissism. And so you can follow her. When you go see the videos, you can click and follow her. And she also has just created her. She's usually on Periscope a lot. And so she's under Apostle Helen Sadler or Apostle Helen. And then under the YouTube channel, she's under Helen Sadler Destiny Helper. Go subscribe to her channel, and also when she's on Periscope, she's usually on Periscope Tuesday through Saturday. Right now she's traveling, and so she'll probably come and do some videos, but normally she does videos. But if you go to my Facebook channel, my Facebook page, she did do some teaching on narcissism from a spiritual perspective as a leader within the church. And so if you would like to go and watch her and then subscribe to her YouTube channel and also follow her on Periscope or on Facebook, and you're welcome to ask her questions. She'll answer the questions when she has an opportunity to do so, especially when she's live and she is on that topic. So hopefully that helped. And that's why we were going to get together, because I can bring you a clinical perspective, and she most people that are in the religious sector have the freedom to discuss openly about religious beliefs, whether that's Buddhism, Hindu, Christianity, Muslim, whatever religious preference that you are. But the one thing we know that we have in common on this YouTube channel is that most of us have been and have experienced narcissist abuse, and we can talk about it and we can compare notes. And a lot of you are healing because each one of you are encouraging each other. Miss Marietta, hopefully that answered your question. Although there were a lot of things, I just wanted to address that publicly with you, because I didn't want you to think that I was avoiding that. I just wanted to respect people's opinion and just bring the clinical perspective. I wanted to address also, we have been talking about, the narcissist and how they got in. We were talking about how they've already hunted you and watched you on social media, or watched you, and when they lock into a prey, they're not going to it doesn't matter whether you want them or not, they're going to pursue you. And so sometimes saying no becomes hard because they put a lot of pressure on you. Then the love bombing, the devaluing overlaps into the love bombing, and then the devaluing. Once they've locked in, then what? Once they've got in, then what? And I did videos on YouTube that addressed living with a narcissist. Go back and check that out. What is it like to live with a narcissist? And so it kind of overflows into this video, is that once they got in, once they're in, be prepared that you're really in for a shock, because these individuals, they don't take any accountability. They live a illusional life. They live this life of perfection. They think that they're perfect anyway, so everyone has to live up to their standards. But remember, when they met you, they saw you as being perfect, or they saw you as having something that they wanted. They idealized you. You know, there's something that they wanted as they got to know you. And, you know, when you get to know someone's weaknesses, you know, what are you going to do with the person's weakness? As we get to know each other, you know, if you find out that I snore, or if you find out that, you know, that I use the bathroom like that average person, does that mean that you now have no respect for me? Well, the narcissist doesn't think that way. You know, now they find out you use the bathroom, or you belch, you know, or pass gas, you know, whatever you do, that becomes, to them, that becomes less than a perfect image that they have created in their head concerning you. And so the more they watch you, the more they realize that you are human, very human, the more they devalue you, because you are not measuring up to the image that they have in their head. Be prepared too that, you know, their standards are so high, and their standards always change. What is good for them is not, you know, what rules they set for you is not the rules that they're going to follow. So when they set standards, the standards are almost unachievable. Well, not almost. The standards that they set within their households or in the relationship are unachievable. They can't even achieve it. You know, they tell you what you will and will not do, or they set so many rules you can't even remember the rules, but they don't follow any of the rules. I remember this lady telling me that she had a narcissist who was a serial cheater, and you can always tell the new supply that he had attached with, first of all, in the difference of the sexual acts. So she already knew, what are you doing? You know, bringing all these new ideas. Then, as you know, when you brush your teeth, you know, you spit in the sink. When you brush your teeth, you spit in the sink, you gargle, you rinse the sink out, clean the sink out. Well, whoever he had attached to told him that the spitting in the sink is nasty, that you spit in the toilet. So he came home to his family and changed the rules that no one is to spit into the sink. You spit into the toilet. And everyone is looking, they didn't change it. They're looking at him like, where did this come from? There may be things like, because that particular narcissist also chewed with his mouth open. And she said that all of a sudden he looked at everyone at the table and talked about how disgusting they were with chewing with their mouth open. And so she knew, like, whatever supply he had attached to had dogged him out about chewing with his mouth open. Other things, for example, narcissist, one of the somatic narcissists. The somatic narcissist was very into looks and material things, and the wife disclosed that what would happen is I think it was a family of 4 or 5, and she disclosed that you know, a lot of times, you know, in order to feed a family of 4 or 5, to include if you have pets, she says, obviously, you know, my bill for groceries is not $100 bill every month. You know, kids are in school, you got animals to feed and a household to run, and so it's not $100 you can give a person to make it stretch. You know, she said, but what happened is because he was trying to impress other supplies, he would use the money to take them out to eat, take them to hotels, you know, wine them and dine them, while the family is trying to figure out how were they going to eat. And then he began to insult the family by calling the family fat, the animals fat, you know, the children fat, you guys eat too much. And then toilet paper, what are the kids doing eating the toilet paper? You know, and it became very stressful in the house because, you know, at least breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but he would make the statement that, you know, I live off of 1 meal a day. Well, what he didn't tell is 1 meal a day that you see me, and then all the meals that I spend on the supplies that I'm trying to hoover and love bomb and trying to pull into my harem. And so she said it was horrible because she had to figure out a way to make additional money to bring food in the house and to pay little additional bills because of the fact that he would take her money and wouldn't allow her access to her own money. And so ladies, you know, and men, be very careful when you're connecting your bank accounts with someone really, really fast. You know, they jump into a marriage, everything is moving fast, they jump into a marriage, they probably wanted to add your money in there to maintain this illusion of I don't know if it's a wealthy or whatever, but the kids are starving, the wife's starving, the animals, the dogs are starving, the fish are starving, you know. But she said that this is what she had to live with. She had to figure out additional, and then because I think he stole, he did a lot of illegal things in order to get more money. So it was always a hustle, and she was always in fear that that he would get caught, and then she would be accessory to the crimes that she knew nothing about. But she knew that he wasn't being honest. And so this is the I am so sorry, you guys. The glue in my eyelashes, I think I came in too quick and tried to glue my eyelashes on and came in here, so I'm so sorry for staying in my eyes. But these are some of the pressures that families are living in. Then they're also, when it comes to perfectionists, there's one thing to tell your kids, you can do whatever you want to do. You just practice make perfect. You keep on practicing, and to get perfect. But the reality of it is you also have to teach your children balance, meaning that, you're not always going to win. You do your best, but there's always someone that might be better than you, but you do your best and be the best at what you do. And the reality is that, sometimes you win and sometimes you don't, but you continue to practice to build your skill, to build your craft, to work on. But a narcissist, on the other hand, devalues a child if, you're making me look bad, and so you have to be perfect at what you do. You need to keep on practicing. And why can't you do this? Or why do you have an A? Can't you get an A? Is there something higher than an A? Or 4.0? Can't you get like a 6.0? And so they put unrealistic pressures on their children and on their families in order for them, I'm not going to give you affection or love unless you're able to achieve these goals that they can't even achieve. Things like, you have to look a certain way, or if you don't win the beauty contest, and these are the females, if you don't win the beauty contest, you're making me look bad. But the only way that they connect with their daughters may be living vicariously through them, through pageant shows, through fashion shows. And that's the only way that they connect with their kids, because they're living through their children doing these things. And so the child feels like I have a connection with my mother as long as I'm performing as long as so they go through life always performing. And so, and they feel like I have to be beautiful, I have to do this, I always have to achieve. That's the only way that my mother gives me attention, until one day they wake up, and hopefully one day they wake up and like, I don't care. And then sometimes they go totally to the opposite, to the extreme. And the reason being is, I'm tired of trying to live up to my mother's standards, which are unrealistic, or I'm tired of living up to my father's expectation. He makes me feel like I'm stupid, and if you really look at their background, like, but you never achieved that. And if they did achieve that, they don't tell you what they went through to achieve it. A lot of them lied, steal, cheated, slept their way to the top, men and female alike. So they don't tell you that part. All they tell you is what they do have. They don't tell you how they got to where they were going. They'll just tell you what they have. And now they place themselves at a higher standard over you. And a lot of that is unachievable. And just like, you have these models on these magazines, and a lot of it is Photoshop. So they look like these perfect people until you meet them in person, you find out they have flaws. Well, that's the same way that a narcissist, they walk around with these filters, Snapchat filters, and you think that they're perfect people until the mask falls off and you begin to see what ugly people they are. And when I say ugly, I mean ugly in their heart, how ugly these people are and how horrible they can be to the people around them. And that's why by the time that you leave out of the narcissistic relationship, and some people are afraid to leave because of the embarrassment and the shame associated with even being in a relationship, or the shame or the humiliation associated with, I couldn't even make my marriage work. Well, if you are in a relationship where I couldn't even make the relationship work, and they put all the blame on you, and you're the one that was not able to maintain the relationship. Well, it takes two people to be in a relationship. You are in the relationship all by yourself. It takes two people to try to please each other. Love and being in a relationship is about trying to outlive the other person. Let me do good by you while you do good by me. How can I not do good by you when you're good to me? Well, narcissist is, you need to do good by me. Everything that you do needs to be good by me. It doesn't matter what I do. You just focus on what you need to do. And they really, even in counseling, they focus on, this is what she needs to be doing, and this is what he needs to be doing. You need to fix this, and this will make the relationship better. They don't take accountability or responsibility for anything, nothing. And so when you leave out, you're almost confused, you're embarrassed, you're humiliated. At one time you were a beauty queen, today you're a troll. And it's not even that you're a troll, it's the fact that they told you were a troll and you started believing what they told you. And so hopefully this has helped you today. Didn't want to stay on long, I didn't want to get on here and start babbling, but I just wanted to give you guys some information, give you some encouragement. And to answer, hopefully, Miss Marietta, that answered your question. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I got to get to work. You guys like the camera? It looks really good, right? I like it too. Finally, there's no crack in the screen, and we're back on board and we're rolling. And so thank you guys for your support. Thank you guys to all the new subscribers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to my channel and finding something valuable. Please do interact. There is a lot of emails that come through, and there's a lot of comments. So a lot of times I just can't respond to everyone. But please let me know if you are interested in meeting us in Dallas. Hopefully we're trying to do this on the 30th of March. We will be going to listen to Mr. Quinn Holiday. If you guys want to meet us there, you know, that's 2 for 1 special. You know, if you want to meet us there, we're going to be there, myself and my mentor, and a group of awesome leaders that are going to be coming along with us, domestic violence advocate, crisis intake specialist, and not to do the crisis intake because we're not a mobile mental health, but we're coming to listen to him speak, and then we're also doing our own conference so that you guys are open to hear from 2 different perspectives, from the Christian arena and also from the clinical arena. You can ask whatever questions. Please come out and meet my mentor. She is an awesome woman, awesome businesswoman. I mean, this lady, this was my mentor. This was my life coach. When I was going through a lot of things that you guys were going through, this is the person that grabbed me by my arm, you know, and said, get up, and made me focus, and provided me with counsel and provided me with encouragement. And this is how this came about, is because I know that there's hope. You know, I know there's hope, and I want you to know that there's hope. So come out and meet us. She's a dynamic woman. You got to go out, and for the first time, I get to meet you guys as well. So many of you guys that want to come out and meet me, you guys come out and meet me so I get to put a face to the names so that we can talk, we can chat. You know, and so he's doing his, and then we're going to do ours later on that evening. And so meet us in Dallas. So if you are interested, send me an email, Dr. Carmen Bryant, DrCarmenBryant @outlook.com. Give me your name and your email. I'm not going to share it with anybody else. It'll just be for me so I can get a head count. And those of you that are unable to travel on that day, if you would like to, you know, for a nominal fee, both of them, you know, are nominal fees. They're not, it's not like we're going to make it so expensive that you can't, you know, come out. The most expensive thing might be your flight and hotel stay. But if you can't come out, then, you know, we will make sure that we are making arrangements now that we can do a live webinar so that you can be there with us at the same time for a low fee, or you know, a nominal, meaning low fee, a decent fee, you know, so that you can interact, and you and someone will be monitoring the question and answers so that we can get the question and answers out so you can hear her perspective as well. And she is a phenomenal lady. I'm telling you, you guys don't want to miss her. And then, of course, I would love to meet each and every one of you. So send me an email. Let me know if you're interested, so I can put you on the list, so I can kind of get a head count, you know, ahead of time, so we'll know how big of a space that we need to accommodate you. So thank you guys once again for your support. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's Dr. Carmen Bryant at Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. And then if you would, and hit the bell so you know whenever I upload a new video. And if you would like to follow me on Facebook, not my personal page. Some of you guys are trying to come on my personal page. That is my personal social media page, not my personal space, not my personal page, but my professional page, which is Psychological Health Consultants and Services. Hit the thumbs up because I post the videos on both. I have had some problems with Facebook coming live, and as I said before, I used 2 different devices. My iPad, for some reason, Facebook just kept shutting down when I was on live, so I picked up my laptop. I did that, and it just shut it off. And so I'm going to try it on a different device Sunday, but if not, I will leave a message on my Facebook page to let you know to come over to my YouTube channel. Once again, thank you guys so much for your support, because you guys make this happen with your questions. Send me questions, tell me something to talk about, and I will talk about it. And once again, you guys, thank you. You guys have a great day today, and go and be great, as my friend always says.